is the author of Business Class, Jacqueline Whitmore. Welcome.
Thanks for being here. Thank you. Nice to be here.
So you tell us how to behave in the office. Is that correct?
I do indeed. I teach corporate executives and university students all over the country how to behave. I kind of polish them like a little diamond.
And what's the first thing you tell them?
Get off Facebook.
No, I actually love Facebook, but there is something called techno-etiquette, and I do teach how to communicate more effectively online, and that could include email etiquette, cell phone etiquette, and Facebook and LinkedIn, which is a big social medium with executives these days.
See, I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't use it.
You know, I don't either. I prefer Facebook because
too.
it's a little bit more personal. In fact, I'm friends with my third grade teacher, Miss Caps.
I love
mean,
that.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Alexis, she doesn't like to reconnect.
well,
Do you?
No, I said no. I said no. I don't.
well, how do you
If I'm
like?
not still friends with them, there's a reason.
Well, isn't that funny? You get these requests from people who you weren't friends with back then, and they want to be your friend now. I mean, one of my neighbors wanted to friend me, and I wasn't friends with him back then, but. I mean, have you had that happen?
Yes, but that's a great question that you're now prompting me to ask, which is, what if a coworker tries to friend you on Facebook, and you're not interested in having that sort of boundary crossed?
Can't you give them less access? Isn't there a thing that you
Right.
have to,
It's called a privacy setting,
Right.
and a lot of times what you can do is you can become friends with them, but you don't necessarily have to allow them to see your wall or to see your pictures.
Okay,
if it's a
better.
coworker that you've dated at one time.
Hey, but that's a no-no,
I thought
isn't
you weren't
it?
supposed to do that.
Right.
Well, you know, you can't. Some people believe you shouldn't dip your pen in the company ink.
Excuse me?
It's a good expression. I like it.
But I think some of us have been guilty of that from time to time.
Well, it's human nature. If you're single, if you're unattached, and I'm sure for some who are attached, if they're in the workplace and they're spending most of the time
That's
there,
where you
and
meet people. How else are you supposed to
Well,
meet people?
think about it. The company has already pre-screened them. So you don't have to go through that looking up their social security number and, you know, getting a private investigator.
Is that what people do when they start dating nowadays?
Well, some people do.
Huh. Do you do that?
No, you do that.
Yes, I do.
So what do you like to wear in the office?
What do I like
What
to
is
wear?
one allowed to wear? A female. How may a female dress?
It depends. It depends a lot on your industry. For example, you're in a very creative career. So obviously you can dress more creatively than someone in banking or law or accounting. Those women have to dress more conservatively. I always say dress for the job you want, not necessarily the job you have.
Okay.
In fact,
I used to tell Jennifer that all the time. And what would you say to me?
What?
What would you say to me?
What did I say to you?
You used to say, and what job do you want to have?
Is that what and what'd you say?
No, you would say hooker.
I would say that to you, and then you would say hooker, right?
well, you know, people
I would say hooker, I know.
You say, what do you
People
want
in
to
the
be, a hooker?
entertainment industry can dress a little bit more provocatively. So I think it depends on your industry. It also depends on your level and the clients that you're dealing with. For example, I used to work in PR, and if I have an accountant who's one of my clients, I'm not going to wear my cute strappy heels into his or her office. I want to look like an accountant because that's who I'm representing.
How has office etiquette changed in the past 20 years?
Oh, I think it's changed tremendously. I think women, we have changed the face of etiquette. In fact, a lot of the old rules that applied to women don't apply to us anymore. For example, women used to shake hands with a little limp handshake. Well, yes, they did.
The dead fish?
The dead fish.
It's horrible.
The dead fish.
And I wondered why they couldn't get ahead.
And wondered, right? And wondered, so what I suggest is that the business arena is gender neutral. So both of you, I shook your hand before we came on, and you have a very firm handshake.
But I was taught that when I was 5.
Yeah, so was
Right,
I.
but a lot of people aren't. And it's your handshake that conveys your confidence and your personality and traits and your motivations and feelings towards other people.
It's a lot in a handshake.
Absolutely. You can tell a lot about a person just by the way they shake your hand. And a lot of women sabotage themselves in business by giving that limpy, wimpy handshake.
By the way, a lot of men
do it.
Men do it too, and it's very patronizing. In fact, a lot of men and women use the two-handed handshake, which is more loving, it's warm, it's consoling.
I
and
shook President Clinton's hand, and he doesn't let go. You're standing there, and you're like, okay, this is fun, but now can I go? And he uses 2 hands and holds on.
But
Right.
it's kind of okay because he's so hot.
Yeah, he's hot.
Yeah. He is.
Well, it's used by politicians and ministers and rabbis.
Because they want you to feel comfortable and...
Right. They
Yeah.
want to establish that connection. And a lot of people you know well, you might shake with that hand. But in business, I always tell women and men, don't give the two-handed handshake.
What about the Christmas party? Sometimes people go to these holiday parties and they just get trashed and they do all sorts of things. Can they come back from that? What do you recommend about
No
your
drinking?
behavior at the
No
Christmas
drinking?
party?
No, I don't think you should abstain from alcohol altogether. I mean, go ahead and enjoy your glass of wine. But remember, well, 1 or 2.
Okay.
You have to know your limit. I always say, number 1, eat before the Christmas party or holiday party, so you don't go on an empty stomach, and mingle. And beware, loose lips sink ships. So if you drink too much, you might...
Now, what if you don't want to go to the Christmas party?
We haven't.
No, I know how you feel because a lot of those things are just political. But I will also say that to be perceived as a team player, especially in the competitive world we live in, go for 15 or 20 minutes.
Really?
And
Is
then,
that have to go?
well, just tell them you have another party, you have another obligation, you
What
show
comes
up.
first? The work party.
Well, you may have your spouse's work party to go to.
Interesting.
Yeah. In your case, it would be something else.
We would have to make up another excuse for you, Alexis. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Thank you.